Yes, hello, good evening, all of you. Good afternoon. So let us start with the motion in plane, the remaining MCQs. Yes. So कल हमने कुछ MCQs किए थे. अभी आज के लेक्चर में आगे के MCQs हम करेंगे. ओके, चलो. Yes, I hope you can see the question. ठीक है, देखो ठीक से. Just try to read this question. Second question from this. Okay. First is also easy. You can do it yourself. Basically, the particle experiences a constant acceleration for 20 seconds after starting from rest. If it travels a distance s1 in the first 10 seconds and distance s2 in the next 10 seconds, then what is the relationship between s1 and s2? ये actually एक अच्छा result भी है. देखो ठीक से. We have this particle experiences a constant acceleration. That means we can use the three kinematical equations, right? So since it starts from rest, that means u here is going to be 0, correct? U is given to be 0, and we have that the distance traveled in first 10 seconds is s1. S1 is the distance traveled in first 10 seconds. तो S1 के लिए हमारे पास क्या फॉर्मूला है? ये देखो हमारे पास ये फॉर्मूला है S is equal to ut plus half a t square. ये फॉर्मूला हमारा होता है सेकंड कैरेमेटिक इक्वेशन कहलाता है. लेकिन जबकि u 0 है तो u 0 होने की वजह से ये फॉर्मूला ही बदल जाएगा और हमको क्या मिलेगा? S is equal to ये टर्म ही गायब हो जाएगा और बचेगा सिंपली हाफ ऑफ a into t square. करेक्ट है? सो अभी जबकि यहाँ पे फर्स्ट 10 सेकेंड्स के अंदर डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल किया हुआ s1 है, तो यह इससे हमको एक कंडीशन मिलता है s1 is equal to half a into 10 square. करेक्ट है क्या? This is going to be question number 1. Just record it as it is. Yes. And then we have that the distance traveled and the distance of s2 in the next 10 seconds. What does it mean? तो next 10 seconds के अंदर वो s2 इतना distance travel करता है. इसका मतलब, लेकिन अब ये जो फॉर्मूला बना हुआ है, ये फॉर्मूला स्टार्टिंग से जो डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल किया जाता है उसके लिए बना हुआ है. मान लो कि यहाँ से वो पार्टिकल स्टार्ट करता है और ये 10 सेकेंड्स के अंदर, तो t इक्वल टू 10 सेकेंड्स के बाद वो s1 इतना डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल करता है स्टार्टिंग से. ओके, अभी अगले 10 सेकेंड्स में, मतलब स्टार्टिंग से अगर काउंट करो तो कितना हो गया? 20 सेकेंड्स हो गया. तो ठीक है, तो 20 सेकेंड्स में उसने कितना डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल किया? अभी यहाँ पे s2 इतना डिस्टेंस उसने ट्रेवल किया इधर से इधर तक, नो डाउट. और स्टार्टिंग का जो s1 डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल किया हुआ था ऑलरेडी, तो वो भी उसमें अगर ऐड करेंगे तो टोटल डिस्टेंस कितना ट्रेवल हो गया? s1 plus s2, which has to be replaced here for s, we can see, and hence we can get the equation that is s1 plus s2 is going to be equal to half of a into t square, where t is going to be actually 20 not 10, बिकॉज हमको स्टार्टिंग से मेजर करना है, तो इसलिए फिर यहाँ पे आ जाएगा 20 और उसका स्क्वायर, जिसको यूज करके हमको मिलेगा s1 प्लस s2 विच इज गोइंग टू बी एक्चुअली इक्वल टू, ओके नहीं तो ऐसा करेंगे, इन दोनों इक्वेशंस का अगर हम रेशियो लेंगे ना, रेशियो देखो ठीक से, इफ यू टेक द रेशियो ऑफ दीज टू इक्वेशंस, इक्वेशन नंबर 1 एंड 2, तो क्या होगा कि यहाँ पे हाफ ए कैंसिल हो जाएगा, सीधी बात। तो इससे हमको ये मिलेगा s1 अपॉन s1 प्लस s2 will become equal to half a cancel and 10 square upon 20 square, that means we can write it as 10 upon 20 और उसका होल स्क्वायर, करेक्ट है। जिसको आगे सॉल्व करेंगे तो हमको मिलेगा s1 अपॉन s1 प्लस s2 is actually going to be, अच्छा 10 by 20 कितना होता है ये हमको पता है, 10 1 जा 10 2 जा, so 1 by 2 का होल स्क्वायर कितना बनता है 1 by 4, करेक्ट है। so this is 1 by 4 and if we just solve this, then we'll be able to get the relationship between s1 and s2 easily. That means 4s1 is going to be equal to s1 plus s2 if we cross multiply it here, okay, तो we get this as s1 इस तरफ लेके जाएंगे तो हमको मिलेगा 4s1 minus s1 मतलब 3s1 which is actually going to be s2, so s2 is equal to 3s1 is going to be the correct option, or we can say B option will be correct because it tells us simply that the s1 is going to be equal to s2 by 3, समझा ठीक से, so B here is going to be actually the correct option, yes, no doubt. Let us see this next question, second question here, that is x displacement x of the particle along straight line at time t is given by x equal to a naught plus a1t plus a2t square, okay, then the acceleration of the particle is, how will you get the acceleration of this particle, देखो simply we have to differentiate it twice, a naught plus a1t plus a2t square, correct है। if we just differentiate it once, yes double derivative हमको निकालना है, if we differentiate it once we get this 0 plus a1 into 1 plus a2 into 2t, correct है, and this is going to be the velocity which is going to be a1 plus 2a2t, okay, but if we just differentiate this further once again, then we get this 0 plus 2a2 only, that means acceleration here is going to be actually 2 times of a2, which is going to be the answer, which is here in option number C here, check, so C will be the correct option, समझा ठीक से, चलो ठीक है, next one, question number 3, yes, the coordinates of the particle moving at any time is given by x is equal to at square and y is equal to bt square, then the speed of the particle at any moment is, yes मुझे लगता है ये भी हमने ऑलरेडी किया है, याद होगा आपको, x equal to at square means ये देखो x equal to at square and y is equal to bt square, तो dx by dt अगर हम निकालेंगे तो vx कितना आएगा, vx मतलब ही dx by dt है, dx by dt, तो which will be a into 2t मतलब ही 2at हो गया, और dy by dt कितना बनेगा, तो हम देख सकते हैं 2bt, उसको हम लिख सकते हैं b into t square का डेरिवेटिव जो कि 2t है, और इससे हमको मिलता है vx which is going to be 2at and vy which is going to be 2bt, so that we can get the speed मतलब क्या, magnitude of velocity, so velocity का magnitude कैसे निकालते हैं, root of vx square plus vy square, so that we can get this as root of 2at का whole square which is going to be 4a square t square plus 2bt का whole square मतलब ही 4b square t square, and hence we get this 4t square common and get this as 4t square into root में a square plus b square, so that 4t square का root बन जाएगा 2t और root में a square plus b square will be left as it is, which is going to be there in this option number D here, okay, which is going to be the correct option, yes. Okay, just take down this next question. Fourth question here. Electron starting from rest has velocity that increases linearly with time as v is equal to kt. Okay, v is equal to kt, where k is going to be 2 meter per second square. Then the distance traveled by it in the first 3 seconds will be. Yes. How will you get that? See here, v velocity is given to be k into t, where k is given to be 2, right? So v can be written to be equal to 2 times t. Okay. Then the distance traveled by it in the first 3 seconds is. तो 3 सेकंड्स के अंदर कितना डिस्टेंस वो ट्रेवल करेगा, कैसे निकालेंगे? ये देखो, एक एक दो मेथड है इसके लिए. तो एक तो ये कि v कैन बी रिटन टू बी dx by dt, करेक्ट है? dx by dt. So we can say that this dx by dt is actually going to be 2t, करेक्ट है? जिसको ये dt अगर उस तरफ लेके जाएंगे तो हमको मिलेगा dx is equal to 2t into dt. And if we just integrate both sides, then we get this dx, integration of dx is equal to integration of 2t dt. So that in the next step, we can get this integration of dx is going to be simply x, which is equal to, अभी 2t का integration क्या बनेगा? So it will be 2 is a constant out, and integration of t will be t square by 2, right? And hence we can get this 2 cancelled, and we'll be left with x equal to t square. And since the distance traveled in 3 seconds is to be found out, just put this t equal to 3 here and get this distance to be equal to 9 meter. That's it. So this is going to be the final answer. There is another method. See here, since the velocity varies linearly, the velocity linearly vary करता है. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ यहाँ पे कि the velocity is nothing but this velocity can be compared with the formula for first kinematic equation. If we use this first kinematic equation here and compare this with v is equal to u plus at, then we get this u and t a here. तो इस इक्वेशन को अगर हम v equal to u plus at के साथ कंपेयर करेंगे तो we can write this as v is equal to 0 plus kt, करेक्ट है? जिससे हमको मिलता है u equal to 0, and at the same time a is going to be k, and immediately we can just use the second kinematic equation. अगर second kinematic equation use करेंगे तो हमको इसमें से मिलेगा v is equal to, sorry, second kinematic equation होता है s is equal to ut plus half a t square, करेक्ट है? जिससे हमको मिलता है s is equal to u तो 0 है तो first term will get vanished, and plus half into a which is k here, and that is going to be k into t square. But here already k is given to be 2, राइट है? k जो है वो 2 दिया हुआ है, इसलिए यहाँ पे हम उसको डाल देंगे यहाँ पे, तो ये बनेगा 2 into t is given to be 3, and that's why we get this 3 square, 2 cancelled, and s becomes equal to 9 meter once again in this way. Okay, so in this way we can get the final answer, no problem. Next, the displacement of a body is given to be proportional. Yes, Atharva, you are correct. Even kinematic equation use करके भी आ जाएगा उसका आंसर. Yes, फोर्थ वाला ही बोल रहे हो ना तुम? Yes, it will do. Fifth one, चलो, the displacement of a body is given to be proportional to the cube of time elapsed. Then the magnitude of its acceleration of the body is. So देखो यहाँ पे displacement मतलब x जो है, so here x is going to be proportional to the time cube of time lapsed, मतलब x is proportional to t cube, बराबर है? तो इसका मतलब हम ले सकते हैं x equal to some constant k into t cube, करेक्ट है? जिससे हमको मिलता है dx by dt, first of all that is a derivative which is going to be k into 3t square, correct है? And at the same time this is going to be the velocity, but if we just differentiate this once again, तो velocity कितना बन गया हमारा 3k t square. If we just differentiate this velocity also with respect to time, then we can get this as 3k is constant out and t square का derivative 2t, and hence we can get this as acceleration is equal to 6k t. which shows that acceleration is going to be proportional to time, which is already there in this option number. Magnitude of acceleration of the body is increasing with time because it is proportional to the time. Okay, chalo, next one. Sixth one, a body starts from origin and moves along x-axis such that at any instant, the velocity at any instant is given by 4t cube minus 2t, where t is in seconds and velocity is in meter per second. What is the acceleration of the particle when it is 2 meter from origin? Yes, this is somewhat tricky question. We can try to solve it. See here, velocity at any instant is given. V is equal to क्या दिया हुआ है? 4t क्यूब माइनस 2t, ये वेलोसिटी का एक्सप्रेशन दिया हुआ है. ठीक है, तो अभी इसमें क्या है ना कि हमको पता है कि इसका अगर डेरिवेटिव निकालेंगे तो हमको एक्सेलरेशन मिलेगा. तो वी कैन गेट dv by dt which is actually going to be 4 times of t square का t cube का डेरिवेटिव 3t square minus 2t का डेरिवेटिव simply 2, so that we can get the acceleration of this particle to be simply 12t square minus 2. Correct है? This is the expression for acceleration. Okay, but it is given that when it is 2 meter from origin, मतलब ये क्या दिया हुआ है? ये डिस्प्लेसमेंट दिया हुआ है, मतलब x कोऑर्डिनेट उसका दिया हुआ है. अभी x कोऑर्डिनेट निकालने के लिए हमको ये v जो है, तो v को हमको एक्सप्रेस करना पड़ेगा v is equal to dx by dt, and then we'll have to replace it here and get this as dx by dt is equal to 4t cube minus 2t. So that this dt can be taken in that side, so as to get this dx is equal to 4t cube minus 2t into dt. Correct है? And then we will have to integrate this here. So if we integrate this equation, then we get this integration of dx which is equal to integration of 4t cube minus 2t dt. Correct है? जिससे हमको मिलेगा integration of dx is x, and this integration of 4t cube, what is it? We know that the 4 is constant, can be taken out, and t cube का integration according to the formula for x raised to n का integration जो होता है x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. तो इससे हमको मिलता है t cube का integration जो कि t raised to 3 plus 1 मतलब 4 upon 3 plus 1 मतलब भी 4 अगेन माइनस 2 टाइम्स ऑफ t का इंटीग्रेशन क्या आएगा फिर से उसी फॉर्मूला से. ये t मतलब क्या है यहाँ पे t raised to 1 है, बराबर. तो t raised to 1 का इंटीग्रेशन बनेगा t raised to 1 plus 1 मतलब t square upon 1 plus 1 मतलब ही 2. करेक्ट है? So this is going to be the integration of this equation, so that this 4 gets cancelled and 2 gets cancelled, and we are left with the equation x is equal to t raised to 4 minus t square. Okay, but it is given that the distance is 2. Correct है? When it is at 2 meter from the origin, what does it mean? The particle is given to be at a distance 2 from origin. Yes, the particle is given to be at 2 meter distance from origin. Yes, तो इसका मतलब x का वैल्यू 2 दिया हुआ है, बराबर. So put x equal to 2 and try to find out the time here. तो x equal to 2 अगर डालेंगे तो यहाँ पे आ जाएगा 2 is equal to t raised to 4 minus t square, which gives t raised to 4 minus t square minus 2 is equal to 0. This becomes a quadratic equation in t square, right? We can solve it by oral factorization method. Minus 2 can be factorized as minus 2 and plus 1, which adds up to minus 1 also. So we can just split this minus t square as minus 2t square plus 1t square, so that we get this t raised to 4 minus 2t square minus t square only, and minus 2 as it is, which is going to be 0. So that we can take this t square common from this first two brackets, so as to get t square minus 2 in the bracket, and minus 1 common from the next two brackets, so as to get this t square plus है ना यहाँ पे. Yes, so plus 1 here, and t square minus 2 will be left inside the bracket, and that is equal to 0, which can be simplified as एक ब्रैकेट में हमको मिलेगा देखो ठीक से, एक ब्रैकेट में हमको मिलेगा t² + 1 और दूसरे ब्रैकेट में मिलेगा t² - 2 and that is going to be equal to 0, which simplifies as either t² + 1 must be 0 or t² - 2 must be 0, which also means that तो अभी t² + 1 equal to 0 का मतलब होता है t² must be equal to -1, which is not possible because square of any number is never negative, and this t² can be equal to 2, and it gives t is equal to ±√2. But again, t can never be equal to -√2 because time can never be negative. So therefore, t must be equal to √2. तो टाइम √2 सेकेंड्स पे उसका जो वेलोसिटी है, सॉरी हाँ डिस्प्लेसमेंट जो है वो 2 बनता है, ठीक है। तो उस समय हमको एक्सेलरेशन निकालना है, तो यूज दिस फॉर्मूला टू फाइंड आउट द एक्सेलरेशन. So we have to put this value of t in the equation number 1. Okay, so as to get the acceleration at that point, which is going to be 12 times of t². Already we have the value of t², that is 2, right? So we can put this 2 here. 12 times of 2 minus 2, which is going to be actually 24 minus 2, that is going to be 22 meter per second square. This is actually the acceleration, 22 meter per second square, when it is at a distance of 2 meter. Okay. Chalo, next one. I think we have done this also last time, if you remember. The relation between time and distance is alpha x² plus beta x, where alpha and beta are the constants. Then the retardation is, we already done this, and the answer is 2 times of alpha v cube. Okay. So next one, the acceleration of the body, moving body, can be found from. Acceleration can be found from the slope of velocity time graph. Okay. वेलोसिटी और टाइम के बीच में जो ग्राफ बनता है उसका स्लोप एक्चुअली एक्सेलरेशन होता है. ओके, एंड व्हाट इज द एरिया ऑफ दिस वेलोसिटी टाइम ग्राफ? एरिया ऑफ वेलोसिटी टाइम ग्राफ मींस नथिंग बट द डिस्टेंस और डिस्प्लेसमेंट ऑफ द बॉडी. ओके, चलो नाइन्थ वन. इनिशियल वेलोसिटी ऑफ द पार्टिकल इज 10 मीटर पर सेकंड and its retardation is 2 meter per second square. The distance moved by the particle in 5th second of its motion is. Okay, this is also one of the important concept here, that is the distance traveled in nth second. Many times this type of questions are asked in the competitive exams and they are required actually. So जैसे देखो, अगर सपोज एक पार्टिकल है, यहाँ से स्टार्ट करता है और एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम के बाद यहाँ पे आ जाता है, ठीक है, n सेकेंड्स के अंदर उसने जो है डिस्टेंस जो भी ट्रेवल किया वो सपोज s है, और सपोज कि n+1 सेकेंड्स के अंदर, तो देखो n सेकेंड्स के अंदर उसने ये s इतना डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल किया, नो डाउट, बट सपोज n+1 सेकेंड्स के अंदर उसने जो है s डैश इतना डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल किया, तो व्हाट वी से इज व्हाट इज द डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल्ड इन nth सेकेंड. सॉरी, देखो सपोज वी वांट टू फाइंड आउट द डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल्ड इन थर्ड सेकेंड फॉर एग्जांपल, ठीक है, थर्ड सेकेंड. How will you get the distance traveled in third second as an example? तो उसके लिए हमको क्या करना पड़ेगा, ये पार्टिकल जो है वो 3 सेकेंड में जितना भी डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल करता है, सपोज यहाँ पे टाइम 3 = 3 सेकेंड्स है, और थर्ड सेकेंड स्टार्ट कभी होता है, सेकेंड के एंड पे, तो इसलिए फिर यहाँ पे जो टाइम t = 2 सपोज है, तो इसलिए ये सपोज ये टाइम t = 1, तो what is the distance traveled by the particle in first second? The distance traveled in 0 to 1 will be the distance traveled in first second. The distance traveled in second second मतलब क्या, distance traveled between t = 1 and t = 2, इसको हम बोलते हैं s2. Okay, distance traveled in second second. This is the distance traveled in first second, that is s1. In the same way here, the distance traveled in third second, will be nothing but the distance traveled between t equal to 2 and t equal to 3. तो t equal to 2 और 3 के बीच में जो distance travel होता है इसको बोलते हैं s3, we can say that is the distance traveled in third second. Okay, तो इस तरह से हम देख सकते हैं कि कोई भी in general what can we say is, if suppose we want to find out the distance traveled in second, for example, what we have to do is we have to subtract the distance traveled in first second from the distance traveled in 2 seconds. Okay, तो मतलब 2 सेकंड में जितना डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल होता है उसमें से 1 सेकंड के अंदर डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल किया हुआ हमको सबट्रैक्ट करना होता है. If you want to find out the distance traveled in third second especially, then what we have to do is we have to subtract the distance traveled in 2 seconds from the distance traveled in 3 seconds here. तो मतलब 3 सेकंड में जो डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल किया हुआ है उसमें से 2 seconds के अंदर ट्रैवल किया हुआ डिस्टेंस हमको सबट्रैक्ट करना होता है. So in the same way, continuing in the same way, if you want to find out the distance traveled in nth second, suppose ये n यहाँ पे n है suppose, ठीक है, तो nth सेकंड में डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल किया हुआ कैसे निकालेंगे? तो n के पहले क्या होगा? जरूर n-1 होगा, करेक्ट है. तो n-1 सेकंड्स तक जितना भी डिस्टेंस उसने ट्रैवल किया हुआ है, suppose whatever is the distance traveled by the body in n-1 seconds, that is to be subtracted from the distance traveled in actually n seconds here. Okay, तो ये n seconds के अंदर जितना भी डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल किया जाता है उसमें से n-1 seconds के अंदर जितना भी डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल किया जाता है वो अगर सबट्रैक्ट करेंगे तो हमको डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल्ड इन nth सेकंड दैट इज sn मिल जाएगा आराम से. तो इसके लिए हमको क्या करना है, देखो ये जो है डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल्ड इन n सेकंड्स उसको हम बोल देंगे s, राइट. और ये जो n-1 सेकंड्स के अंदर जो डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल किया हुआ है उसको हम बोल देंगे s डैश, एंड वी हैव टू सबट्रैक्ट s माइनस s डैश. तो हमको s डैश को सबट्रैक्ट करना होगा s में से. बट हाउ विल यू गेट दिस s एंड s डैश? सी हियर, s इज द डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल्ड इन nth सेकंड n सेकंड्स एंड s डैश इज द डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल्ड इन n-1 सेकंड्स. तो s निकालने के लिए हमारे पास डायरेक्ट रेडीमेड फॉर्मूला है जो हमारा सेकंड कैरामेट्रिक इक्वेशन होता है, s इक्वल टू ut plus half a t square, correct है. So if you put t equal to n here, then we get this u into n plus half of a into n square, correct है. So this is the equation number 1, which is the distance traveled in n seconds. Okay, how will you get s dash here? S dash मतलब the distance traveled in n-1 seconds. So just replace t by t n-1, so that we get this u into n-1 plus half into a into n-1 का whole square. This is going to be the equation number 2, which is to be subtracted. Okay, तो अगर हम subtract करेंगे तो हमको यहाँ पे मिलेगा s minus s dash, and here it will be minus sign and minus sign here also. So अभी ये दोनों terms को जब हम subtract करेंगे ना तो u can be taken common, and what we are left inside is u minus bracket में u minus 1, correct है. Okay, plus half a can be taken common from these two terms here. Okay, इन दोनों टर्म्स में से हाफ ए कॉमन आ जाएगा और अंदर में क्या बचेगा, n स्क्वायर माइनस n-1 होल स्क्वायर, करेक्ट है. सो दिस इज योर n स्क्वायर माइनस ब्रैकेट में n-1 होल स्क्वायर. ओके, एंड नाउ इफ वी जस्ट ट्राई टू सिंप्लीफाई दिस फर्दर, देन वी गेट दिस. अच्छा, s माइनस s डैश मतलब ये क्या होगा, sn, दैट इज टू बी फाउंड आउट हियर. So Sn can be written to be equal to u as it is. अरे ये n है ना, सॉरी, n-1. Okay, so if we open the bracket, then we get this n minus n plus 1, where n will get cancelled in the next step. Okay, and here half a is already common, and n square as it is minus, if you open this bracket we get this n square minus 2n plus 1 according to the formula for a minus b the whole square, so that we get this Sn is equal to u into 1 plus half a is common out as it is into, here it is n square. If you open the bracket, then we get this minus of n square, minus of minus plus 2n and minus 1, where n square gets cancelled once again, and we are left with Sn, which is equal to u plus half a into 2n minus 1. and this is actually the formula for finding the distance traveled by any body in nth second, which is denoted by Sn. तो Sn के लिए क्या फॉर्मूला हमको मिल गया, u प्लस या तो फिर से half of a into 2n minus 1, where 2n minus 1 stands for an odd number. Okay, तो ये इस तरह से हमको मिल रहा है. अभी अगर हम ये बात यूज करेंगे कि जैसा कि यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है कि initial velocity of the particle is given to be 10 meter per second. That means u is given to be 10 meter per second, right? And since u is given, see here, u is given to be 10 meter per second, and also the acceleration is given to be 2 meter per second square. So a is given to be actually 2 meter per second square. So what is the distance traveled by the body in fifth second? That means we want to find out s5, right? So s5 के लिए फॉर्मूला क्या है हमारे पास, u plus half a into 2 times of 5 minus 1, correct है? So this is the formula. If we put the values of u and a here, then we can get this simplified as 10 plus half of a के बदले आएगा 2 और ब्रैकेट में आएगा 10 minus 1, which is actually going to be 10 plus 2 to cancel, and here it is going to be 9. So 10 plus 9 is going to be 19 meter. So this is going to be the distance traveled by the body in fifth second. Okay, let us check here. 19 is going to be the correct option. This is the 19 option. Okay, B is going to be actually the correct option. Yes. Chalo, next one. A motor car moving with a uniform speed of 20 meter per second comes to stop on application of brakes after traveling a distance of 10 meter. Then its acceleration is. Have you look at that? See here, it's very easy question. We have to find out the see here, a motor car comes to rest after traveling 10 meter. Okay, and it was traveling with the uniform speed of 20 meter per second, right? Okay, and it comes to stop. That means initial velocity of the car is going to be 20, barabar? And since it stops, its final velocity is going to be 0, right? And it travels a distance of 10 meter in that duration. So therefore, the distance traveled by the body is given to be 10 meter here. So we can use the third kinematical equation, that is v square equal to u square plus 2as, so that we get this v square, v के बदले आ जाएगा 0 square, which is equal to u के बदले आ जाएगा 20, तो ये 20 का square plus 2 times of a, which is to be found out, and s is going to be 10 here. So that if we just simplify this further, then we can get this as 0 is equal to 400 plus 20a, correct है? So that we get this 20a is equal to 400, yes, minus 400. And then if we just take this 20 in the denominator, then we get this a equal to minus 400 upon 20, which is going to be minus of 20 meter per second square. That is going to be the acceleration here. Okay, but since they have asked acceleration here, we have to mark this answer as minus of 20 meter per second square. Okay, if they have asked retardation, okay, तो retardation अगर पूछा रहता तो हम यहाँ पे ये आंसर मार्क करते थे, याद रखो ठीक से, ठीक है? Because acceleration and retardation are just opposite concepts, just negative of each other. Okay, the next one, the velocity of body moving with uniform acceleration is 2 meter per second square. Sorry, of the velocity of the body moving with uniform acceleration of 2 meter per second square is 10 meter per second. Its velocity after interval of 4 seconds is. That means we want to find out the final velocity here, right? So final velocity can be found out. Time दिया हुआ है और acceleration भी दिया हुआ है. 10 meter per second velocity, initial velocity भी दिया हुआ है. So no doubt we can just get it by using first kinematic equation, that is v equal to u plus at, no doubt. सो v हमको निकालना है 4 सेकंड के बाद का वेलोसिटी. u दिया हुआ है ऑलरेडी 10 मीटर पर सेकंड और a is given already to 2 and time t is going to be 4, so that we get is 10 plus 8 which is 18, which is already there in this option number D here. Correct hai? Yes. Next one, the particle starting from rest travels a distance x in first 2 seconds and y in next 2 seconds. Already we have done it as now y equal to 3x. ये हमने इक्वेशन अभी डिराइव किया था. फर्स्ट जो हमने इक्वेशन किया ना अभी आज के लेक्चर में, वो इसी टाइप का था. चलो नेक्स्ट वन, the initial velocity of the body along straight line is 7. If it has a uniform acceleration of 4, then the distance covered by the body in fifth second again can be found out by the same formula, that is Sn is equal to u plus half a into 2n minus 1, where we have to find out the distance traveled by the body in the fifth second. That means we want to find out S5, right? And u is given to be actually 7 and half of a is given to be 4 and 2 times of 5 minus 1 matlab hi 10 minus 1 matlab 9. So if we just simplify this further, then we get is 7 plus 2 2s are 4 and 2 9s are 18. So the 18 plus 7 comes up to be 25 meter per meter only. So this is going to be the final answer. Chalo. Next one, the velocity of the body depends on the time according to the equation v is equal to 20 plus 0.1 t square. Then body undergoing uniform acceleration or uniform retardation or non-uniform acceleration or zero acceleration. What do you think? Since the velocity of the body is depending upon t square, what can we say? See here, v is equal to 20 plus 0.1 t square. So if we differentiate this equation with respect to time once, then we get this 20 का derivative 0 plus 0.1 is constant out and t square का derivative 2t, जिससे हमको मिलता है acceleration of the body which is going to be equal to 0.2 times of t. That means acceleration is proportional to time, which means that acceleration is increasing. That means it is not uniform ना, तो यूनिफॉर्म एक्सेलरेशन तो हुआ ही नहीं वो, तो इसलिए उसको हम बोलना पड़ेगा हमको नॉन यूनिफॉर्म एक्सेलरेशन. ओके, एक्सेलरेशन इज वेरिएबल एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट इज द नॉन यूनिफॉर्म. ओके, द पोजीशन ऑफ द पार्टिकल, नेक्स्ट वन चेक. द पोजीशन ऑफ द पार्टिकल moving in xy plane at any time t is given by the equation, that is x equal to, देखो x equal to 3t square minus 6t and y is also given to be t square minus 2t, right? Okay, so correct statement about the particle is the acceleration of the particle is 0 at time t equal to 0. Let us check. Can you find out acceleration? See here, if you try to find out the velocity, then you will have to differentiate it once. So dx by dt कितना बनता है 3 times of t square का डेरिवेटिव जो कि 2t है और minus 60 का डेरिवेटिव क्या बनता है, सिंपली 6 बनता है. So this can be written as vx. Vx is going to be equal to 60 minus 6. Okay, and dy by dt कितना बनेगा देखो ठीक से, तो dy by dt will be 2t minus 2, so that we get this vy is 2t minus 2, correct? Okay, and then we can say an acceleration. If you want to find out acceleration here, then acceleration के लिए इसको भी फिर से differentiate करो, तो we get acceleration का x component. क्या मिलेगा x component of acceleration? 60 का derivative जो कि हमको पता है already 6 होता है, right? और ay कितना मिलेगा जो कि 2 होगा. इसका डेरिवेटिव अगर निकालेंगे ना तो 2t का डेरिवेटिव 2 आ जाएगा. ठीक है, तो acceleration is in no case is going to be 0. Check, क्योंकि if we find out the resultant acceleration here, then we can get this a is equal to root of ax square plus ay square, and that is certainly not going to be 0. तो first option तो rule out हो गया, first option cannot be true. Okay, second option check करो, velocity of the particle is going to be 0 at 0 time t equal to 0. If we put t equal to 0 here, then we get vx equal to minus 6. How can we say that it is 0? And even if we put this time t equal to 0 here also, then vy comes out to be minus 2. Again, it is not 0. So velocity is not 0 at time t equal to 0. Okay, let us check this third option. the velocity of particle is going to be 0 at t equal to 1 seconds. That is correct. Because if we put this t equal to 1 here in this equation, then we get Vx also 0 as well as Vy can also be 0. Because इस इक्वेशन के अंदर अगर हमने t equal to 1 डाल दिया ना तो हमको मिलेगा 2 minus 2 जो कि 0 बनता है. And Vx and Vy दोनों 0 बनेंगे तो velocity जो है velocity v which is going to be root of Vx square plus Vy square, that will also become equal to 0 plus 0 मतलब 0. And that's why we can get that the velocity becomes 0 at t equal to 1 seconds. That is the correct option here. So C will be the correct option of this question. And D जो है velocity and acceleration of the particle are never 0. नहीं वो तो हो ही नहीं सकता. Velocity is going to be 0 here at time t equal to 1 here. Okay. चलो next. If a body having initial velocity 0 is moving with uniform acceleration 8. Okay. अच्छा टाइम हो गया क्या? Okay, ठीक है. So let us stop here. चलो ठीक है. अगले जो क्वेश्चंस है तो वो हम नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में करेंगे. Okay, thank you all of you.